Hello everybody, welcome to this pick a card reading. We have 4 options here today, and I'll hold these options up for you just in a moment so you can see them more clearly. But in this reading, we're going to be looking at your leadership qualities, where you're already very strong, and we'll also be asking your spirit guides about those areas in which you have the potential to develop further. So areas of strength and areas that you would be well served to dedicate yourself to improving upon. So we'll be looking at those, both of those. We'll start out with the strengths, and then we'll move into the areas of improvement. So our first option here is this little mauve owl. I think I would call that mauve. It's sort of like a brownish purple. Let me try to focus there so you can see it. So that's the first reading. Second one is this white owl. So that would be number 2. For all of these, you can just, once you've determined with your intuition which reading is calling out to you, of course, just use the timestamps below. And I think you would call this like maybe a cerulean green. Is that what it's called? Chartreuse. Chartreuse, that's what it is. Cerulean is something else. I think this is like a chartreuse green, this little owl. And then we have, I don't know, this is sort of like maybe a cross between teal and turquoise, this one. All right, so those are your 4 options. So however it works best for you, tap into your intuition, choose your reading, and use that timestamp, and I'll see you there. Welcome to everyone who chose option number 1. So I'm excited to see how this goes. I've been thinking about this reading topic for a little bit, for a while now. I'm going to start off with this fortune cookie. I've been enjoying using the fortune cookies lately. And if you're wearing headphones, you might want to turn them down. It might be a bit loud as I'm opening it. But we'll just start with this to sort of set the tone here. Just passing it through the incense smoke. I've got a lot of different resins, copal, frankincense. I've been really enjoying working with resin incenses lately. So let's see. Accident is the mother of invention. So I would say, in terms of being a leader, what this is saying is that accidents, of course, are going to happen. Accidents or failures, things will go wrong, right? And I believe that you are someone who can find a way to problem solve and actually come up with ingenious new approaches to things whenever things like that happen. So things are going to go wrong, but you will figure out not only a solution to the accident itself, but it may just allow you to come up with a whole new concept or idea that didn't previously exist. The word on the back is skiing. So, yeah, I feel like, to go along with that, if you're skiing, you have to be able to prepare yourself for things to come, for dangers to come, in order to continue to be safe, But of course, sometimes accidents will happen. So what do you do in those moments? I don't know, maybe skiing has something else to speaks to you in some other way as well, but that's what I'm getting there. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Let's see. So first we're going to be looking at your strengths. We have divine guidance. The ideas you are receiving are heaven-sent answers to your prayers. So I feel like you guys, especially with this, you have those aha moments. You really excel at those light bulbs just going off. And a big part of that is because you're very connected to your crown chakra. In fact, Albert Einstein talked a lot about being in touch with intuition, So coming up with ways to solve problems, it isn't just about logic. It is about intuition or having that crown chakra open. So whether you realize it or not, that's where those excellent ideas are coming from. Spiritual abundance. You also are someone who's always, I think, trying to look for the positive, look for reasons to be grateful, and that increases your ability to be a strong leader. I'm also feeling like you're able to inspire other people to do that as well. So, when problems or accidents arise, you can sort of soothe people. You have a very soothing leadership presence because you have faith as well, I think. You have a very strong faith, and you can show people through your faith that, listen, everything is going to be okay. Everything will be all right. All right, and then we have Jupiter. Let's turn it this way. Jupiter in Pisces in the first house. Yeah, I feel that with Jupiter in Pisces, you do appear to people as well. People can see this, that you are someone of faith. Learn or teach your dreams immediately. You teach people how to follow their dreams. You teach people how and show people how to be positive, to, not to settle, but to really dream big. And you sort of project this aura of ethereal confidence. You're confident in being able to achieve things that are beyond most people's ability to believe in. You believe in things that seem like the impossible dream, and yet you show people that it is possible because you have shown them that you were able to achieve these huge dreams. I think also I'm getting here that you come across as being very self-sufficient. You're someone that other people can rely upon, but you don't necessarily need so much to rely on others. Let me switch these around so I can look at all of the different. If you're watching this in high definition, you should be able to see these words too if you want to read the cards. You might be a leader as well who's not afraid to talk about your own spiritual beliefs. I feel, not necessarily to force other people to believe this, but to be sort of an example, or, you're showing people what your own values are and how your own faith is your guide. Blessings from... I think also you show people that it's okay sometimes to not know the answer. When a problem arises, you're not always going to know the answer right away because the answer has to be sought. And I think maybe that puts people at ease also to understand, okay, I don't have to know everything. This person and their leadership ability, they're not expecting me to be perfect. They're not trying to portray themselves as perfect, although you do come across as like incredibly capable and wise. But you don't expect perfection. You come across as extremely loving and benevolent. Oh my goodness. Well, we have God. So I definitely feel like there's something here. Some of you could be spiritual leaders. That could be the particular area in which you are leading people. But even if it's in business or politics or in some sort of organization, it could even be sports leadership, whatever area that you happen to be a leader. Yeah, benevolent and compassionate, recognizing the eternal force within yourself and others. Yeah, you see the spiritual power within yourself because your crown chakra is so open. You have that divine connection. And in embodying that, you show other people that they are also connected to that eternal force of God within themselves. I mean, you just exude that you should be a leader. People naturally are like, yeah, absolutely, there's no doubt you're meant to be a leader. And people just see that. And it's through your benevolence and compassion and your strength of character. We have sunrise, new creative ideas, new ventures, a fresh start. Absolutely. You come up with new things all the time. You're an innovator. Oh, we have, sunrise and moon. Okay, changes in your life. I feel that you don't get too upset when things change because you understand, just like the sun rises and it sets, we have the sun and we have the moon, that these are natural cycles. Quote unquote bad things are just going to happen. That's just the natural, cycle of life. And I think you're able to see beyond these judgments of good or bad. And you're saying, well, this is just what is. We now have the sunrise. And now we have nighttime and we have the moon. Sometimes the moon is in its new phase. Sometimes it's in its full phase. It waxes and wanes. Things are always moving through their cycles. We can't expect everything to be the same. And because of this acceptance of nature and the natural order of things, it opens you up to sort of be able to yourself. Yes, the sun rises every day, but it's not always the same sunrise. It doesn't always look the same way, right? You're able to be an innovator because you accept the natural rhythms of things. Let's see what else. And we have dogs, getting together with friends. Yeah, you just come across as a very friendly person. You try to invite people into your circle. You're not that type of leader who wants to stand apart and be different. The people that you're leading, you want them to feel and know that they are equals to you. You might be the person in a position of power, but you don't want to lord that over people and make people feel less than you. You have a very friendly quality to you. Stress reduction. Yeah, and this came up before. You're very soothing to other people because of this friendly nature, because you yourself accept these natural cycles that sometimes things are not going to, feel great. Sometimes we will have problems or obstacles that seem very difficult or even painful. But you're able to soothe people and help people to understand we can always get past those. De-stress your mind, body, and schedule as you need to rest, recharge, and revive. So I think also you're someone who really prioritizes work-life balance. You're not just all about work, work, work. You understand that in order to be a good leader, you have to take time for yourself. And that's how you keep your own stress levels low. And that's how you exude to other people that everything is fine. Everything will be okay. All is well. Release. All right, let me just read this one out here. If you've been carrying an old resentment, clinging to past their prime wounds, or been holding fast to the faint, nagging echoes of arguments past, arguments present, or, in your own mind, arguments future, you are being prompted to release them all. Let this be your assurance that you don't need to carry those burdens anymore. You're not the hardships of your past, and your family connections are only as strong as the resentment you can release. So why not torch those burnt bridges and get this new leaf party started? Yeah, there's a lot here about being able to create newness through not holding on to the badness, right? So you're not someone who holds grudges or resentments. It's sort of like, even if you recognize yourself like, oh, I think I've been sort of resentful, I've been holding a grudge, you correct yourself. You're like, okay, this is not serving me. It's not helping me to be blaming past circumstances or to be blaming people or even to be blaming the situation. Difficult things happen, You might go out to your car and your tire is flat, or, you miss the bus. These things happen. And I feel like in your leadership quality, you make other people feel at ease because you show them, listen, I understand as well that you're going to have difficult things that arise, and I want to show you how not to stress out about it so much. It is what it is. Let's get on with life. We don't have to be so anxious all the time. All right, so the next part of the reading, so this was all of what you've already got going strong for you. The next part of the reading is more so like areas of improvement or areas where you could really focus on. And we have Aristotle, idealism. So you could, if you really wanted to go go far out, you could, really look into Aristotle's teachings. We do have the key word here, idealism. And so it could be, yes, you're an innovator. Yes, you are able to problem solve and have those light bulb moments. It could be the area where you could strengthen yourself, though, is to really think about your ideals. You're good at responding to difficult situations as they arise, but what's your true objective and what sort of ideals or values are your choices made upon? So it could be sort of redefining your purpose by trying to figure out what are your ideals. Sorry, I feel like I'm repeating myself. Okay, we have the Four of Pentacles. Yeah, you don't hold on to resentments, but it could be that you're holding on to making your choices based on maybe values that already exist, systems that already exist. It could be that you would be better served to question those values. For example, if you are a business leader and you have some sort of leadership position within a corporation or something, are you just accepting the ideals that were handed to you? Or are you willing to see beyond that and sort of adjust things based on your own idealistic vision or integrity? And then we have the Two of Cups, the King of Pentacles, and the Emperor. I feel as well, like you're again, like we saw with a lot of what came up before, you're very good at making people feel like they're your equal, which they are. There could be areas, though, where you really need to be more willing to actually assert your authority and not necessarily to be the bad person, the bad guy, or exert yourself over people too forcefully, but of course, you do have to set boundaries and rules. It's okay for you to have your own particular vision and hold other people to accountable to your vision because you are in the leadership position, right? And you can do that in a way that still allows people to feel soothed and comforted and like they're your equal, but also, they will have to meet certain standards, right? Okay, let's see here. We've got the North Node in Leo. Leo here, first word is leadership. And the 5th house. Yeah, I think sometimes you might doubt. You're like, well, I'm in this leadership position, but am I really supposed to be? Do I really have this authority? I mean, the authority's been given to me, but should I actually claim it? So I feel like this is telling you, have faith that yes, this is indeed your purpose, or a strong part of your purpose in this lifetime, is to be a leader. You're able to do it in a way where you can be both a leader and someone who people really respect, but at the same time in a very friendly way. You're someone who can be fun. You're a fun leader. You can be a friendly, likable leader, but you also command a certain authority. And it's okay to be a bit dramatic or assertive in order to push forward your own vision. Have faith. There's a reason you're in this position. Not everyone who gets into a leadership position, I don't think it's true of everyone. But in your case, your guides are saying yes. I mean, have confidence in yourself. You are meant to be having this leadership position because you're someone who can do it, from a place of love and equality. And you will be more successful, and you and the people that you're leading will benefit from, understanding that you do have extremely impressive leadership qualities, and you are able to use your vision and your innovative thinking in order to create new results and new approaches, and people benefit from this. So trust yourself. Yeah, we get mediator. Gift for negotiating fairness and strategy in personal and professional life. Respect for both sides of an argument. Yeah, you can be very respectful and take into account other people's thoughts and incorporate those. I feel like that's part of your ideal. This is something that you do idealize. You want to be fair to other people, but it's okay as well to push your own agenda a bit more. And you can still do that in a way that is where you're still respecting and having an openness towards other people's ideas and contributions. Okay, courage. You are safe. Fear is an illusion. Set strong boundaries. I think I'm getting the picture that you guys, maybe sometimes the people that you are leading, because you desire to treat people as equals, which is a wonderful thing to do, but because of that, sometimes these people that you're treating as equals sort of take advantage of you a little bit. So you just need to assert your boundaries and say, you know what, ultimately I am the leader here. I do want to take your ideas into account, and I will do so, but ultimately it is my choice, and I reserve the right to make those choices. Okay, we have the Five of Wands and the Devil. Interesting. Now, I'm going to read from the book here because the book for this deck has some really great messages. Okay, so Five of Wands is represented by the honey badger. I don't know if you all remember several years ago, there were these videos that went around like honey badger don't care. And in other words, like, the honey badger is very okay with asserting itself strongly. Honey badger doesn't care about your feelings. You know, you don't want to be completely like the honey badger, but your guides are saying this is an energy that you could incorporate more. Like, be willing to sort of stand your ground and be assertive. All right, I'm going to read this message from the honey badger from the book here. You know someone has to be the bad guy. Otherwise, what would unite those who seem to focus more on their own common differences than on their same soul goal? I know you think that we bad guys serve no purpose, and the utopian world you crave would have no place for us, but ask yourself this: how would you create it if no one were able to unify the energy in the first place? Yeah, so it's like, don't be afraid to be the bad guy. Maybe even at some points in being the bad guy, you are causing those who oppose you to come up with new solutions themselves. Okay, and for business and career, the message is, Honey Badger asks, are you the badass leader in your field whom everyone looks up to? Or is your message confused and your delivery chaotic? The Five of Wands gives you a choice. Either stand out from the crowd and create a movement, or get lost in your own noise. The choice is yours. I feel like this goes back to idealism. If you're in touch with your own true values and your ideals, then go ahead and assert yourself, because you're coming at it from a place of values. It isn't coming from nowhere. It's solidified because there's a value orientation to you asserting yourself and being willing to be the bad guy a little bit. Okay, let's see what the devil has to say. Okay, the devil is the bobcat. Have you ever noticed that where you stand determines how you see and feel about something? In fact, ask 20 different people witnessing the same scene what they see, and you will get 20 different accounts. Not one of them the same. Vision is fluid, and the eyes tend to lie. This means that what some see as restrictive and abusive, others see as liberating and freeing. It really does depend on whose eyes you are looking through. So, I think, and going along with this message of don't be afraid to be the bad guy, some people, when you assert yourself in the way that we've described, will see you as that. But other people will actually see you as someone who is being a liberator. They'll understand the ideals that are the foundation for your actions. So, everyone's going to have a different perspective of you. You have to know yourself well enough to know, am I acting according to my personal truth? Am I acting according to my values and my own integrity? And if you are, people will see that, even if there are some who do attack you and say that you are being the bad guy. All right, when the devil shows up on your business doorstep, beware. Although this opportunity may seem incredibly impressive, read the fine print. Make sure you are truly signing on for something that will benefit you in the long term. Whatever you do, do not be blinded by short-term gain, as this could cause pain later on. So I think this is just telling you to be very discriminating when it comes to other people. Not everyone is going to trust you when you assert yourself, and that's fine. They're doing what's best for them. And on the other end of it, you also have to be discerning about people's motives when they come to you with opportunities or ideas. Is this really best? Does this really align with my own values? Don't just try to play the nice guy. You also have to be willing to do what's best for you and your vision when, people want to partner with you or things like that. Or people have business proposals and things. I know not everyone here is a business leader, but I guess just using that as an example. All right, and then we have Enheduanna, the high priestess. I am one with my soul, and my soul is a legacy of love. So Enheduanna is very interesting because she was an ancient high priestess, I think in Sumeria, I'm not sure, but she was a high priestess, and at that time and in that culture, a high priestess also carried a lot of political power. So, and of course, there are different instances throughout history where this is true, where the person with spiritual leadership is also the person with political leadership. And, with the God and the spiritual energy that was coming up at the beginning of the reading, whether people see you as a spiritual leader or not, I feel that your leadership is divinely guided because you are very connected to your spiritual truth. And I think just as a word of advice, your guides are saying, that's very important to continue to embody that and recognize and honor the truth of that your spiritual connection is such a guiding force for you. Okay, and then we have Soul Journey, and this is one that I'm going to read from the book just as a final message to you. Let's see what it says here. You are ready to start. A new chapter is beginning for you right now. This time, go easy on yourself. Be the courageous, loving being you are. Breathe into the present moment and allow any anxieties to drop away. Enjoy the journey and stop thinking the future will bring something better. When the future arrives, it will be the now. Step out of the shadow of your past. All that matters is what you decide to do from this moment. Your life is yours to live in whatever way is meaningful to you. You brought yourself to this life, and you are responsible for the quality of it. Trying to understand your reason for coming here will just hold you back. Just remember, everything you have done was the best thing to do at that time. Or you thought it was. As you move forward, you will understand your motives. Experience allows you to better handle crisis. You are now deliberately creating a new chapter in your life. You are such an amazing pioneer. Yeah, so much strength here in terms of that being a pioneer and being able to handle a crisis. I mean, that was the initial message. So that is already a strength. And this final message is saying, like, push into that even more so, because that's something that is very needed. All right, so I want to thank you so much for watching this. I really hope that it was helpful. It ended up being kind of a long reading, so if you lasted till the end, I appreciate you, and I hope that there was a good reason for that you really got something good out of it. And in any case, thanks so much for watching, and I wish you all the best. Bye-bye. All right, welcome to all of my number 2 folks who chose the White Owl. So we have a lot of cards that we're going to work through here. But first, I actually want to start off with this fortune cookie. When I open this, it could be, excuse me, it's choking there. It could be a little bit loud, so if you're on headphones, just know that. Okay, a hunch is creativity trying to tell you something. So I think that you have these sort of intuitive hunches, and this is, as a leader, this is something that you definitely should pay attention to. Surprise. Yeah, I think that your guides are saying that you're going to be surprised at the results you'll have when you start paying attention to those hunches more instead of pushing them away. And if you're already doing that, then your guides are just congratulating you. And all right, and you might have a surprising hunch that comes to you soon. So first, we're just looking overall at your strengths in terms of leadership. And let's see. All right, so we have daily practice. It says the more you practice your new skills, the more comfortable and confident you become. I do feel that you're someone who is capable. You're a quick learner. You're someone who does learn things very quickly. And then you hone that, what you have learned. You become masterful at it through continuing to practice whatever it is. We have Mercury and Aries in the 2nd house. I mean, you have a very strong mind. I feel like a lot of you are Mercury-ruled people. So it could be Gemini or Virgo, or just have Mercury strong in your chart. But one of the things that you do well is you're able to communicate passionately and assertively anything related to money and resources. So let's say someone comes to you and says, well, we should be spending money this way, or this is the best way to spend our money, and you disagree with that. You have an ability to analyze. You're not just going to say no right off the bat without taking into account what they're saying. But once you've come to your conclusion about whether it is the best way to use money or whether it's not, you can communicate that very assertively. And because of this, I feel that you're a very wise steward of your resources, and you're not allowing other people to sway you or push you to spend money in a certain way or to allocate resources in a certain way. Also with the Earth Angel, yeah, you're very, I feel like a very maybe environmentally aware, or just like I said, you're not someone who wants to waste resources, whether the resource is money or environmental resources. You want to put things to good use, and you're not afraid to communicate to people, listen, we have to be conservative of our resources. We have to invest wisely. Yeah, and in other words, you're not afraid to tell people what you think about how money should be spent or how resources should be used. And I think that in your leadership, as a leader, this is something you have to do a lot. So you could be in some sort of leadership position where people are often asking you about money or making demands on you regarding money. And you're having to tell them, well, this is how it's going to be. Okay, thief. Sheds light on the potential wealth within you that can never be stolen. Yeah. There might be people who want to kind of like use your money for their own self-interest, or use the organization or whatever it is that you're leading, or that you will lead, for those of you who aspire to be a leader. There will be people who who try to influence you because of their own self-interest, and you see beyond that, and you're like, no, you cannot steal wealth from me. You can't steal wealth from the organization, the company, whatever it has to be. You know, we have to be using our resources wisely. I just get, like, again, you're putting your foot down when it comes to these things, and you're not afraid to do that, and your guides are saying this is very good. Rabbit. Too much concern with sexual matters. I feel, again, with rabbit, though, there's something here about prosperity. You're able to, because rabbits reproduce. Like, it's not that you just are, like, stingy and you don't want to spend money. You're not afraid to spend money if you know that it will produce more, or not afraid to use resources if you know that it's going to expand your resources in doing so. So it's not like you just never want to use resources, but you want to use it and you want to make the wisest investments possible. Okay, we have Sun, happiness and well-being. I feel like generally people feel that you're someone who leads in a way that makes them feel happy. Even when you are putting your foot down, people sort of respect you. They respect your leadership. You command a certain sort of respect. Yoke, feeling tied down or frustrated. I think people, you know, they see you, and your guides are seeing you as someone who, part of the reason people respect you is that you're not afraid to get in there and do the hard work yourself. You're not just someone ordering other people around and making other people do the hard work. You're also carrying an equal weight, because you probably have been the person who was managed, right? You know what it's like to be on the bottom. You know what it's like to be the worker bee. And so now when you have a position of leadership, you respect that. You respect the work that other people are doing, and you carry your own weight. In addition to just being the leader and making decisions and things like that, you do the actual work. You're not afraid to get your hands dirty. And your guides are saying this is something that you should pat yourself on the back for. It's a very strong leadership ability that you have. Okay, smoky quartz, clearing negativity. Release negativity from within or around you. Yeah, I think that you don't allow yourself to be influenced by negative people. People who might try to make you worried and make you try to use resources incorrectly because they're trying to inspire fear in you or something like that. In general, I think that you try to keep your own mind very clear so that you can be making the best decisions. Optimism. Okay, so definitely you try to stay free of negative thinking as well. I am facing this day with a clean slate and an optimistic attitude. Regardless of what or who has disappointed me in the past, I'm ready to see things in a new light. When life hands me lemons, I'll make lemonade. When life spills my lemonade, I'll have fun splashing in the puddle. When bees swarm around me because I'm covered in sugar from my lemonade puddle, well then, let's reconsider. So yeah, you're optimistic, but you're also realistic at the same time. Like, you know, something you can't turn everything into something positive, right? Some things really are just negative, and that's what they are. But you're clear in your thinking about, okay, what is something that is just a momentary problem that can be overcome versus something that really is like, wow, this is really horrible. And it's like you try to be positive, but you're not a toxic positivity type person. So like if someone you're leading comes to you and they're legitimately facing a major struggle, you're not going to be like, oh, that doesn't matter. Just, you know, turn that frown upside down. You know, like you're going to be someone who can honestly assess, like, wow, yes, this person is in a very legitimate place of struggle, and we can't just pretend that that isn't the case. But if someone comes to you with some sort of petty drama and they try to pull you into that and play the victim when that's not really the reality, you'll definitely see beyond that, and you don't allow yourself to be influenced by it. Okay, so these are the areas of strength. Now we're going to get into areas of improvement. So first we're going to start out with Confucius, wisdom. I would recommend anyone who is in any sort of leadership position to look to the wisdom of Confucius, because he was all about, leading from a place of virtue and integrity. He would say things like, everyone wants to be rich, but if being rich would cause you to be corrupt or lacking in integrity, then you would be better off not to be rich. And he said, likewise, nobody wants to be in poverty. But if being in poverty were to lead you to a more righteous existence, then I would not push it away. He's not saying necessarily that being wealthy is better, or that being wealthy is bad, or that being in poverty is better. He's saying you have to be aware of how things are influencing you. And that's just one example, but I would say that you might want to even look to his teachings and what he said about leadership. You could even just Google Confucius leadership quotes. Or if you're a business leader, Confucius business quotes, or whatever it happens to be for you. If it's about how to be a wise steward of your resources, which you already are, but you just want more insight, Confucius, money quotes, I don't know. But anyway, he had an incredible amount of wisdom, and particularly also political. He had a lot of thoughts about political leadership. So if that's an area where you are a leader, see what he had to say, Let's see what else we have here. We have the Six of Swords, the Two of Swords, Strength card, and the Wheel. I kind of get a feeling with you guys that you're very stoic individuals. You're kind of like that brick wall that other people can lean against because you seem so strong. But your guides are saying, sometimes it's okay to admit that you need help, that you need support. Because there are areas with the Six of Swords, there are areas where you definitely do need healing. But in order to get that healing that you need, you have to be willing to admit it. And that requires you to be a bit vulnerable. And your guides are saying there is strength in vulnerability because it will lead you to greater strength, right? If you admit that you're vulnerable and that you have particular needs and you need help with something, that strengthens you. There is a positive outcome of that. So it would be weak not to look for help or admit that you need assistance, because that's going to make this wheel turn around and it will lead to negative consequences. So be strong enough to make the choices that will ultimately benefit you and strengthen you. Okay, we have Venus in Scorpio in the 8th house. Wow, this is some intense energy right here. I feel like for you guys, there's something about your leadership that has a lot to do with resources. So we had the 2nd house before, and now we have the 8th house. These are both the houses of resources. And the power, with the 8th house especially, it's about the power that goes along with having resources. Venus can have a lot to do with resources as well. Okay, so let's just look at some of the combinations of these cards. Cherish the extraordinary power of prayer as a life or death issue. So yes, when we talk about asking for help, oh, my light went out. When we talk about asking for help, one of the things that you need to be willing to do is ask help from the divine. Pray. Whatever that means to you. Call upon the angels. Call upon God. Call upon your spirit guides, however it is. Maybe you don't even know what you need, but just be willing to call out and seek assistance and know that that assistance is available to you. Enjoy the highest and lowest aspects of getting and using power. So maybe some of you actually feel a little bit uncomfortable being in a leadership position because you don't like the power that it gives you. I kind of feel here that like when you are aware, you're a very self-aware person. I feel your guides are saying that you are self-aware, and that's why you would question having power to begin with. They're saying, many leaders, many people with great power are not self-aware. And so they abuse that power, and sometimes they don't even see that they're doing it. You clearly are someone who can wield power with grace and fairness. So when you acknowledge that, then you can also accept the power that you do have and understand that ultimately you are in control of your use of that power. You're not letting the power get the best of you. You're not being exploited by the power that you have. You're wielding your power wisely. I also feel, particularly if you need to be able to influence other people to give you money, just like you have a very strong wit and intelligence about how to communicate to other people about, when they want money from you or when they want money to be used in a certain way, and you can kind of put your foot down. On the flip side of it, you know how to convince other people to give you money when you need it. And that's a strong leadership skill. And so your guides want you to acknowledge and be willing to use that because you are someone who I feel is acting with integrity. You're not abusing resources, right? You're a wise steward of them. So when you need to seek resources or money from someone else in order to fill some sort of leadership goal that you have, don't be afraid of doing that. Go ahead and ask. You're very good at it. In fact, you can be very convincing. And people will be willing to give you money. Absolutely. Okay, we have Liberator, freeing yourself and others from outmoded beliefs, releasing negative thought patterns. Yeah, so we saw before that you're someone who does release negative thought patterns, that in some ways it could be an area of growth still. Or it could be because you're so good at it, it might be time to try to teach other people how to do that themselves. You're not living in a victim mindset. Is there a way that you can sort of hold up that light to other people and teach them how also not to be doing that? Hope, stay positive. Gosh, there's a lot about, letting go of negativity, embracing positivity here. Stay positive. The worst is behind you. Look up to the light. Yeah. I feel like this is what you're meant to be teaching other people. You've figured this out, but other people have not. Certain other people have not. And you have, with your position of leadership, you can show them the way. All right, and we have 7 of Wands and the 3 of Pentacles. I'm going to read these messages from the book because the book for this particular deck has wonderful messages, and some of them are related particularly to leadership and career. Okay, so we have the skunk here. I'm going to read the message from the skunk. I am not really much of a fighter. Truly, I prefer to be left to my own devices and treat the world around me with as much respect and honor as possible. But sometimes I have to stand up for myself, and I am not afraid to do so. It is, however, the very last resort, as I do give a preemptive warning of what is to come if things don't calm down. So I feel like, again, this is kind of like in your section where it's supposed to be about areas of improvement. They're kind of reiterating the areas that were already brought up as strengths. You have a strength of being able to put your foot down. It could be that this could just be something that needs to be refined in some way. When it talks about giving a preemptive warning, Maybe there are more subtle ways of letting people know that they can't coerce you into doing something you don't want to do, rather than moving right into the last resort response. And I kind of feel like maybe you guys are more so introverts as well. I prefer to be left to my own devices. But yeah, I think it could be like something about more like developing diplomatic people skills, something like that. Okay, let's look at the business and career meaning here. Business is a team sport. Like it or not, now you may not be a business leader, but just, this can relate to any sort of leadership position. Business is a team sport. Like it or not, you won't get very far by yourself. The Seven of Wands says that now is the time to start refining your team. Find the people who will go to bat for you, especially those who will lend a hand if you ever find yourself backed into a corner. Yeah, we kind of got that message before as well with this Six of Swords, that you're not really good at asking for help or accepting teamwork or accepting the help of others. But you need to free yourself from this negative mindset. We all need people. No person is an island, blah, 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 all of that. You're going to be strengthened through being willing to rely on other people, so that you're not the only one having to stand up for yourself, but you'll have other people who can stand up for you as well. All right, and then we have the giraffe. There is nothing wrong with keeping your eye on the prize, but keep in mind that this is only one part of attaining what you require. Lift your head and look towards where your goal or dream is, and start walking towards it. As you walk, you will meet others along the way who will be willing to assist you. Take advantage of all that is offered to you, as you will never get to where you want to be on your own. So this is really reiterating this message, like you need to find other people to help you fulfill your leadership goals. Attaining goals is a team effort. Remember this and you will be amply rewarded. No matter how tempting, now is not the time to take your eyes off your long-term goals. Make sure your daily goals are moving you closer to where you want to be and not into the danger of distraction. So again, another message here is just to, kind of refine your long-term and short-term goals, and making sure that they're, the short-term goals are supportive of the long-term goals. And we have Sarada Devi, the Divine Mother. Unconditional love exists within me. The presence of love is the absence of judgment. So it could be, I think for you guys, I'm getting a feeling maybe of perfectionism here towards yourself, definitely, and maybe towards other people. So I feel like, how can you be unconditionally accepting? How can you let go of some of those judgments, liberate yourself from those self-judgments, and perhaps also other people? Okay, for your final message, we have wellness. Yeah, I feel like you guys, your soul really wants greater overall well-being. Let me just read this one from the book as just a final message for you. You are entering a time when your body will become stronger. If you have been or are sick, you are on your way to feeling better. Begin to focus on a sense of well-being. If you are healthy, you will be inspired to strengthen your body through yoga or another form of exercise. Your body is enlightened and knows how to heal itself. Every feeling, be it pain, butterflies, excitement, or love, is a message from one part of the self to another. Tune into your body through meditation and ask what you can do to improve your well-being. Behind the human in the image is the flower of life, a symbol that represents the process of creation. It is made up of overlapping circles that are a repeating expression of the first circle. It is a geometric metaphor reminding us that the nature of life is continual expansion. Your body takes you everywhere you go. So acknowledge, thank, and love it. All right, guys, I really hope that this message was meaningful and helpful to you. I want to thank you so much for watching. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Hello to everyone who chose option number 3. Again, I forget, chartreuse, I think is what it's called, this color green. But anyway, this little owl for number 3. We have lots of cards to get through. Like I said in the intro, we're going to look first at your leadership strengths, and then we'll get some guidance from Spirit about areas of development. But we're going to start out, so if you're wearing headphones, just a heads up, I'm going to open this fortune cookie. It might be a little bit loud with headphones, I'm not sure, but just in case, be aware of that. And we're going to get started with the particular guidance from this fortune cookie. Okay. If a true sense of value is to be yours, it must come through service. So I think that part of, just to get us started here, it's good to keep in mind, and this is probably something that you embody, or if you're someone who you're not currently in a leadership position, but you aspire to be, it's good to keep in mind that being a leader is inherently being someone of service. That's the whole goal. Yes, leadership gives you a certain power, but it should be a power that is wielded in service. And also, I think it's saying that you'll come to a greater sense of your own values through the process of approaching leadership as service. It will teach you your values or help you to refine your values. And then on the back we have the word cup. So that just reminds me of the suit of cups in tarot, which is about love. So again, you're leading first from a place of love and service, sort of pouring out your cup of love and humanity through your approach to leadership. That's the best path for you, and I'm thinking that that's probably already a lot of how you're embodying it. Let's see. I feel like I have forgotten some cards here. I was supposed to pull some tarot cards. Hold on just a moment. Okay. I'm not sure how that happened, but for the other stacks, I started off with 4 cards from this particular deck. We start out with the Lovers. So these are strengths. We have the Lovers and the 7 of Swords. Push this back without burning myself. 9 of Pentacles and 10 of Pentacles. I'm getting a real sense here that you guys, you really do keep other people in mind in all of what you're doing. I feel like you're always looking at the long-term vision and working towards a long-term vision. And that's part of what makes you a great leader, but you're thinking of how that long-term vision is going to benefit everyone. You want to be benefiting everyone. And I feel like you value fairness and equity. I think for you guys too, you have sort of like with the 7 of Swords, it's like you have an ability to see the future. Whether you want to view that as being psychic or not, you kind of can see how patterns are likely to unfold. And because of that, you have an ability to strategize on behalf of the greater good, or on behalf of people as a whole. I think also with the 9 of Pentacles and the 10 of Pentacles, like you know that you could. I think there's an awareness in you that you very well could just put yourself first and not really worry about other people. You could be, valuing self-interest. Well, as long as I'm benefiting, then that's okay. But I see how the Seven of Swords and the Nine of Pentacles, these women are both looking over to the Ten of Pentacles. They're always trying to figure out what's really going to benefit everybody. And that's not to say that any one of us has the absolute truth on that, but I feel like you're someone who's always trying to foresee, how are my choices going to impact the communal well-being in the future. It reminds me of that Native American philosophy of the 7 generations. So when you're making a decision or you're taking some sort of important action, the idea is to think about how is this going to affect not only the short term, but like how is it going to affect the next 7 generations? Like really looking ahead and thinking about how the collective is going to be impacted. And I feel you're very strategic in your thinking. You're kind of like a chess player. You're really thinking ahead, like of all the possible actions that I could take now, which one is going to lead to the most positive benefit long term for everybody. So your guides are really seeing that as a real strength. Okay, and we have happy news. Your prayer is answered in a creative way. I think that you're also not afraid to lean on faith as well. And we have loved one in heaven. Yeah, I feel that you're really a very faithful person. She's even clasping her hands like she's praying. I think that you're someone who really prays. You're like I care. I feel like you're someone who really cares about making the right choice. The right choice meaning the most loving choice. The choices that will lead to the most loving, positive outcomes for everyone over the long term. I feel like your spirit guides, it says loved ones in heaven, and but I don't think we're just talking about departed loved ones. I think we're talking about angels and all sorts of divine beings in the heavenly realms or the astral realms. I think they're wanting you to know the happy news is whatever these positive, loving outcomes are that you've been praying for, these will come about. These prayers that you've been making for the collective, they will, you will see those prayers answered in beautiful, happy ways. All right, we have the South Node in Libra in the 3rd house. Okay, so I feel like another strength for you guys is you understand. If we look across the top, it says there will not be cooperation to perfect your ideas. So again, in terms of you being strategic and being able to see all possible outcomes, you're aware that there are things that you as a leader want to implement, and there will be people who try to go against you. There will be people who not only do they not cooperate, but they might actively try to intervene and stall you from implementing these plans and ideas. But another thing is your guides are reminding you that you've experienced certain things like this in the past, in this lifetime, but also past lifetimes, and you know very well how to handle those sorts of troubling situations. You know how to get people to act fairly. You know how to get people to act cooperatively. I think your soul remembers how to engage with other people and to make the right choices in who you align yourself with. You know which people you shouldn't partner up with, and you know very well which people you should. You're very discerning of who to align yourself with. Okay, so that's a strong strength. Okay, we have also child eternal. I'm getting here like, I think that you all really care about children. Again, I'm getting that feeling too with the long-term goal and this 10 of Pentacles. Like you're thinking like, the children today are the leaders of tomorrow and so on, even down the line, even into future generations. You're really thinking ahead. I feel like you're someone who makes leadership choices, maybe not just in regards to children, but all people who are sort of innocent. I feel that you want to make your choices in a way that protect the innocent. Yeah, we have vulture. Again, anxiety about people being against you. I think that, you're very aware that there are people who do not care about protecting the innocent in the way that you do. There are people who do not care about, making altruistic choices. Sometimes that might cause you a lot of worry, but other times it's just you have a discernment. And I think that's what your guides want you to focus on, is the fact that it just gives you discernment. You don't have to worry so much that these types of people exist. Simply recognize, okay, you have this awareness and you can make better choices of who to align yourself with and who not to, because you have that discernment. And see, new home, new attitude, deep friendships. It's sort of like you are treating your metaphorical home as very sacred. So whatever the environment is in which you are a leader, or which area of life you're taking this leadership role, that environment is sacred to you. So if it's business, if it's the political realm, if it's education, if it's spirituality, if it's, athleticism, whatever it happens to be, you know who to let walk across that welcome mat and who not to. You're very hospitable to those who are aligned with your vision of, what's best long-term for the collective well-being. And you don't allow people to cross that threshold if they're not in alignment with your altruistic vision. We have Moldavite. Ooh, Moldavite is a very powerful gemstone. Unconventionality. Your unique qualities are an important part of your life purpose. It's okay to feel and be different from others. So yeah, I think that you don't like to do things in the same status quo way of other people. And I think that you welcome in people who are unconventional and different as well. Not just because they're unconventional, but because they can be unconventional perhaps in a way that aligns with your loving vision. This vision of service, that leadership is about service. If other people are in alignment with you about that, and they also have this intention to be of service, then I feel that you're very welcoming to people with other unconventional insights and attitudes, even if they're different from you. I feel a sort of a real strong open-mindedness with you guys. Okay. And I'm pretty sure Moldavite is a gemstone that comes from outer space. I think this is the one. I'm recording with my phone, otherwise I would get on my phone and look it up. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Moldavite is a gemstone that comes from meteorites, right? I think so. So again, it's like you might have, I feel like you probably do have past lifetimes where you've had leadership roles throughout the universe as well. Lifetimes in other star systems. And this is part of why you're so unconventional, because, you go against the grain of how things are here on Earth. because you're, you're just bringing something new to the table. It doesn't mean that there's anything inherently wrong with the way things are on Earth. There's so much beauty. It's a beautiful, gorgeous planet. But there are a lot of traditional ways of doing things that don't necessarily come from a place of love per se. Or there can be sometimes lack of insight that because of this past life knowledge you have, you can bring it in. You have this new, unusual, quirky, unconventional approach to things, and that's part of the beauty of your leadership style. Also, you're very flexible. Namaste away. Yeah, you might have like a very peaceful way of letting people know that they're not welcome in your life if they're not aligned with love and aligned with service. It says, I am easygoing and always ready to follow the flow. When plans change, as they often do when that one relative or that one person is around, I'll hop on board right away. When someone asks something of me, which is often the case when you-know-who visits, I'll do it without a complaint. And later, in the quiet of my meditation corner, I'll silently call them a you can guess what. So, yeah, I mean, I get this feeling of like you don't necessarily let everyone in, but even people who do align with your sense of service and love and altruism, even some of those people might kind of get on your nerves sometimes, but like that's because you're attracting a lot of unconventional people. And it seems that you also are aware of that. And you're like, okay, these people, sometimes they're going to go against the grain, but that's what I do too. And maybe they get on my nerves sometimes, but I'm going to still be accepting of them. I'm going to try to go with the flow. I see that our values are aligned, even if they happen to be getting on my nerves a little bit. So that's the kind of thing that I get overall from you. All right, let's go ahead and look into areas where your guides feel that maybe you could develop further. And we get Santa Muerte, Holy Death. So Santa Muerte is not afraid of the shadow aspects of life. And so with her coming up here and for you to embody more of her energy, I feel like the message is that you are someone also who's not afraid to look at the things in the world that might be evil or even abusive, because someone has to be willing to look at those things in order to address them and challenge them. We can't be afraid of that side of existence, because if we are, then nothing will ever be done about it. And, some great leaders are people who struggle in this area, and you are not. Just as an example, and this is a bit triggering what I'm about to mention, so just a little bit of a trigger warning here, but it makes me think of the football coach, Joe Paterno, who always was very highly thought of, not only because he was excellent at coaching his team to success over years and years. He was also very charitable. He donated a lot of money to get a new up-to-date library built at Penn State where he was a coach. So people really thought a lot of him. But he himself wasn't always willing to really look squarely at those dark places. There was a scandal at Penn State, which you may or may not be aware of, but there was a scandal that came to light where someone he was the boss basically of this person who was abusing children. And so that scandal came to light, and there were a lot of children who were abused by this man. And it also came to light that someone had alerted Joe Paterno of this. Someone who had walked in on some abuse that was happening had gone to Joe Paterno, not knowing what to do, thinking, well, Joe Paterno is someone who has power in this situation, who could do something. So he was made known of this, but Joe Paterno didn't do anything about it. Maybe that was coming from a place of denial. Maybe it could be, I think probably a lot of it was denial, or just not being willing to, like I said, we have to be able to look into the shadows if we're going to shed light in those areas. You know, a lot of people really criticized him for not taking action because he could have saved a lot of children from that experience if he had done something. So I feel like, you know, this is a lot of responsibility that your guides are saying that you have. You have a lot of responsibility on your shoulders because either there has been, it may not be abuse or abuse of this specific kind, but there's something that in your leadership experience, you will encounter a situation or situations that are evil in some way. And you can't just shy away from it. You have to be able to address it in order to stop it, in order to, you know, protect the innocent. I mean, that was something that came up even before, the idea of protecting the innocent. All right, so I know that was a little bit heavy, but, you know, you are the people who can handle it. Your guides feel that you can. Okay, we also have the Ten of Swords, the Stars, Knight of Swords, and Six of Pentacles. Yeah, I think that there's going to be something that is required of you that is quite painful, even for you to have to think about its existence in the world. Something, again, that will be quite difficult. And but you have this strength. I feel that you came here. Probably a lot of you are star seeds. You came here in this lifetime to do this. This is your purpose, to be able to embody this Santa Muerte energy and to be able to come in boldly and speak up about these things, to not be afraid. The Knight of Swords is not afraid to speak up because they understand that they're connected to this sort of humanitarianism, this sort of love for the collective well-being. And although it may be difficult to challenge those people or institutions which are causing harm, it serves the greater good, and it's a gift. It's a gift of love that is given to those who are innocent. So this is the challenge. Your guides are saying it's a challenge that you can more than rise to the occasion of. Okay, we have Pluto in Sagittarius and the 6th house. So Pluto also as a planet is very connected to the Santa Muerte energy, holy death. You know, Pluto also is about death and rebirth. You will be someone who is uncovering secrets, and these will be uncomfortable secrets that you expose. But the reason that you are challenged with this, or the reason that this responsibility is given to you, is because you have enough insight and wisdom to understand how to face those things in service to the greater good. Again, we have service to others. This is very strong to you, this idea of being of service. It will cause you to have to engage in power struggles with the forces of evil, you know. But you have, again, I keep getting like there's a lot of past life experience. You might want to look at where Pluto is in your astrological chart. There might be some extra insights to you about leadership as it relates to Pluto, but I feel like you're resurrecting these leadership qualities of being able to face those dark areas that most people would be too timid or scared of, or would rather be in denial of, to face. But you are such an idealistic person that you feel that above all else, you know, your job in this lifetime is to be of service. You may not be able to solve all of the problems related to this, but you are sure going to give it your best. And your guides are encouraging you very much to do so. We also have Detective. Wow. It's, great powers of observation and intuition, desire to seek out the truth. You see how she's like covering her face. It's like you might have like some sort of covert method of uncovering or discovering what these things are. For some of you, it might just be a very strong psychic intuition, but for others, it could be other things like that. Things will become known to you, and it is because you're someone who can handle it. And there are many people in the world who just can't, and that's just human nature. You know, a lot of people are just too fragile to handle these types of things. You're not. And because of that, it is necessary for you to serve in this way. And I feel that you definitely are going to be rising to the challenge. We also have nature. Ground yourself. Find a sanctuary in nature. Connect with the elementals. So in order for you to have the strength you need to do this, because this is going to take a lot, it's really important to practice grounding. You know, like a tree, if you imagine its root system, if the tree doesn't have a good root system, then a strong wind can come through and like knock the tree over, right? You as well. You're very insightful. You're very wise. You're very powerful. I will say that. Incredibly powerful here. And you have the power to topple evil, to challenge evil. But you need to be very grounded. You need to be able to establish a firm sense of safety for yourself. Connecting with nature can be a good way of doing that. If you're someone who believes in elementals, you could definitely connect with the elemental realm. But in any case, spend time in nature. Just allowing yourself to be peaceful, because this will not be peaceful, right? So you'll need to prepare your mind and your heart for this through giving yourself as much peacefulness and serenity as possible. Okay, and we have the Page of Pentacles here and the Six of Cups. Beautiful cards. I'm going to read the messages from the book, because the book with this deck is so good. It has such nice messages, so let me find this. Okay, so this is a message from the alpaca. My mother says that all great things once started off wee, that small is not the opposite of large, it is the beginning. I know that I am not big enough yet to be of any real benefit, but over time I will become worth my weight in gold. Never think something is too small to be worth your time and effort, for you just never know what huge miracle it could unlock once it has reached its full potential. I feel like, first of all, this goes back again to that idea of service. You know, we think, you know, like being in a service position, we view that a lot of times as like not something with a lot of status. And of course, we live in a modern world that is sort of obsessed with status and power and things like that. You are a very powerful person, but it is reminding you like that a lot of your power just comes from the everyday, just being a very sincere person. I also think, again, this highlights to me that you're someone who really cares about protecting the innocent. And don't overlook the small things. You know, you will be challenged with big things, you know, with very difficult things that are quote unquote important. And it will be obvious the importance of challenging these things or overcoming these things. But don't overlook like the quiet simplicities as well. These are just as important, I feel like. Okay. Also, are you trying to rush a new money-making idea or income stream? If so, be warned, you still have a lot to put into place before you can let this idea or project out into the world. It's not that the idea or project is wrong. It is just that your timing is off. If you wait and gather more information and put more safeguards in place, you will see a much bigger return on your investment. So this doesn't just have to be about money, but it could also be, like I said, you know, gathering information. Make sure you have acquired a good foundation of information before you proceed, for example. Or, you know, again, back to this nature card, like make sure that you have really nourished and nurtured your roots before you try to make some sort of big leap. You know, I sense like a heroic energy with you guys, and that's very good, but you need to make sure you're wearing your cape first before you make that big leap, Okay, let's see what the Six of Cups has to say. Six of Cups here is the otter. Otters are cute animals, I feel like. All right. Play is not just a big part of our lives, it is the very energy we manifested from. Everything we experience in this physical form is part of a game we call life. Yes, the biggest play of all is the life you came here to live. But you didn't come here to play alone, as this particular game is not a one-player game. You came here to play with others. Playing with others is not only good fun, but it's what the soul came here to do. So I feel like both of these cards are kind of reminding you like to stay connected to like simplicity and innocence. You're going to be confronted with a lot of things that are definitely not innocent, right? But try to balance that out. The things that you're confronting are not innocent things, or that you will be asked to confront. But you really need to balance that out. You're going to create this safe foundation and this firm groundedness for yourself by really focusing on living like a simple, very innocent, fun life, free-spirited fun. You have to focus on that in order to balance out all of this heavy stuff. Okay. All right. Your business team should feel less like employees and more like family. Laugh, eat, and reconnect through play in your business, or whatever it is where you're taking leadership. It may not be business per se, but brainstorm wacky, childlike ideas and think about how you can bring more fun into your work. Yes. I don't know. I remember reading somewhere about this study where they gave children a paper clip and they asked the children, brainstorm all of the things that you could do with this paper clip. And the children, because they're innocent and they had their imaginative abilities haven't been, tamped down by adult living, they came up with huge lists of things that could be done with a paper clip. They asked adults to do the same thing, and adults could come up with just a few, versus children. So there's a benefit to being in touch with this sort of childlike innocence and imaginativeness, because it really opens your mind. And what we got in the beginning of this, that's one of your strengths already, is that you're someone who has a very open mind. So I feel like your guides say continue to really, open that up even more. All right, finally we have Inanna, the Queen of Heaven and Earth. I have nothing to hide. I see and accept all that I am. So I feel like for you guys, it's going to be really necessary for you also to face your own shadow. And I think if there's anything you fear about yourself, if there's any doubts you have that you yourself are a good person, it's only because you care so much about being a good person. I feel like the more that you're willing to look at your own shadow, you will see there's nothing there to hide. Right? So be willing to look at that. And then find full acceptance of yourself. This empowers you to face, the very difficult, I will say again, evil probably, people or institutions or situations you'll have to face. You have to know the real truth. That will require you to look at your shadow. Healing. All right, I'm going to read this message for the book, and this will be the final message for you. Number 5, healing. Okay. Be illuminated by love and truth. Right now, healing is taking place to support your understanding of the gifts in your experiences. Weird or difficult circumstances can often be a fast-track path to your desires. Until we recognize subtle imbalances, the best way to clean up outdated beliefs is to have our buttons pushed. Buttons are created by continued attention to unbalanced thoughts, ideas, or beliefs. Every time we are reminded of or talk about a hurt, it pushes a button and reopens a wound that we are yet to heal. Wounds are created by mental, spiritual, or physical trauma. Poking at them will prolong the healing process. Leave them alone so balance can be restored and wholeness can return. Inspired action for healing may include seeing a therapist, consulting a medical professional, or spending time in the ocean. Focusing on what you love is also healing. All is perfect in every moment, even if we can't see it at the time. So yes, focusing on innocent, allowing your mind to be clear and free of these more heavy things as often as possible, so that when you do have to face those difficult or heavy, dark things, you'll have the strength to do so. All right, so I really hope that this message was helpful to you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, congratulations, because it was kind of a long reading. And again, many blessings your way. I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Welcome to everyone who chose the fourth and final option here with the, I'm going to call that teal, I don't know, teal green owl. So we have a lot of cards to go through here, but first we're going to start off with this fortune cookie. If you're using headphones, this might be a bit loud, so when I open it up, it'll be very crinkly, so just letting you know. If you need to turn down your volume, we'll start with insights from the fortune cookie regarding your leadership qualities. What does number 4 most need to know and understand regarding leadership? I would rather attempt something great and fail than attempt to do nothing and succeed, right? If you attempt to do nothing, you probably will succeed, right? It's easy to do nothing. It's difficult to do something great, and more often than not, when you try to do something great, of course, you will fail. But, so, yeah, I think you get the idea. I don't really have to explain that. And then the learned Chinese word on the back is dumpling. Yeah, I'm thinking about, like, I don't know why this is where my mind is going, but like if you've never made dumplings before, that could be something that would seem challenging to you. But if you continue to never try, then you will never make a dumpling, right? But if you try, maybe the first time you do it, they'll be not really so great, right? But if you keep trying, eventually you could make a great dumpling. Maybe that's a little bit of a stretch, but anyways. All right, so we're going to get started here. First, we're going to be looking at what your strengths are. And for some reason in pile 3 and 4, I forgot to put in these initial tarot cards. So I'll just shuffle and draw a few for you like I did in the first 2 piles, so that you'll have them like the first 2 piles did. Okay, so first we're looking at what are your strengths. I feel for one thing because of this, one of your leadership strengths is that you are willing to fail. You know, you have to be willing to try and fail. Okay, we have the King of Cups, the King of Wands, the Ten of Swords, yeah, being willing to fail, there you go. And then the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. So I'm kind of getting the energy of someone who has to talk themselves into taking these chances, right? It's not necessarily easy for you. It's kind of like if you walk to the end of the diving platform, like a high diving platform, you know, you're that person who has to be your own mental coach. You're inside your own head because you know that you're scared. You know that there's a strong part of you that doesn't want to take that leap, that doesn't want to take that chance. So I feel like part of your leadership ability is your ability to coach yourself to go ahead and do it anyway. You inspire even yourself. Because it's not like you're someone who doesn't have fear. You absolutely do have these fears. You know, I feel that you are sensitive people, But you're also bold because you can speak to that scared, more sensitive part of yourself from the place of the more bold, courageous part of yourself. And you do take those leaps. And I feel like, again, to keep using metaphors, like, if you fall off your bicycle, which inevitably you will do, right, when you are going out there and attempting something great, you'll have accidents, you'll have failures, but you're the person that keeps getting up. You keep getting up. You keep trying again. And you have learned through practice that eventually does lead to success. So that's where your fortune lies. And I think not only are you able to coach yourself to go ahead and aim for and work towards greatness and take those risks, but you're a leader who can inspire other people because you have compassion for other people who are also scared to take these risks for greatness, because you know that you have that in yourself too. You're not that person who's trying to act like, oh, I'm never scared, right? You're just honest about it. You're like, yeah, I get scared of taking chances too, but look what I've been able to accomplish through my ability to go ahead and do it anyway. All right, so that's what I'm getting to begin with. We also have time management. I feel like, so it says, place your priorities at the top of your to-do list and don't allow distractions to deter your focus. So you're very focused. You know what your priorities are. You're someone who knows how to use your time wisely. Okay. Transformation. I mean, I feel like, you're someone who has transformed yourself through, just facing your own fears. You've become stronger and braver and more courageous and a more and more capable leader as well, through attempting greatness. And it is strengthening you in your own greatness, in your own abilities. I'm also getting, for some of you, time management is something that you've had to learn. You may not have always been very good at time management, and that's something that you have also strengthened. And I think your guides are reminding you as well, because you're good at inspiring yourself, but they're going to do that for you right now, because they're here to support you. They're saying, listen, you see how you've become so much better at your time management because you were practicing it, you were putting your focus there. And you see how you benefited from that, in order to put your time towards the things that were the true priorities. Do you see how that changed things so much for the positive? I feel like they're trying to reinforce to you that any area where you're struggling, keep doing that. Keep being willing to refine yourself, and you will continue to transform in these beautiful ways. Okay, we have sun. Talk about leadership. The sun of all planets, is exemplary of leadership qualities. It even says act like a leader. We have the sun in Capricorn in the 12th house. Wow, this is very interesting to me because these are all like strong leadership placements. You wouldn't think so, but a lot of leaders actually have sun in the 12th house. And it's because the 12th house has to do with, it says, large institutions or overwhelming events. So if you're someone who's like a leader on the world stage, for example, obviously it's going to benefit you to be able to embody your leadership qualities in understanding your connections to, what's a more larger institution than like a nation or the world itself. And also Capricorn. Capricorn is often seen, Capricorn in the 10th house are often seen as very strong leadership placements. Okay. Let's see here. I'll turn this one around. And also it says, keep your involvement hidden. I mean, there's something about, when I say that often leaders have sun in the 12th house, I'm talking in particular about like it seems like world leaders. This is, you wouldn't think it at first, right? Because you think 12th house, isn't that all about spirituality and like, these not worldly things? And yes, that is true, but it's also the place of, for one thing, you can kind of hide yourself a little bit in the 12th house so that not everyone always knows what your goals are. But it's also like seeking oneness with all there is. Sun in the 12th house understands that they're connected to the whole. All right, demonstrate your goals through seeking oneness with all there is. Realize the day-to-day reality of philanthropy. Act like a leader. Use the most businesslike way and keep your involvement hidden. So, I mean, we could think of it as fortunate or unfortunate, but often leaders do need to keep certain things hidden. There are meetings that happen behind closed doors. Leaders don't always, there can be reasons why, leaders may feel the need to not have everyone knowing what they're doing. In any case, your guides are saying that there is a benefit to this approach at times. Okay, the creation of dedication to achieve your faith, the gaining of respect for or from focusing on hidden tendencies. This is another thing with Sun in the 12th house. You can see what other people's hidden tendencies are. You can see where maybe other leaders are misusing their leadership. Or you can kind of also see their what their Achilles heel might be. It gives you a sort of a psychic insight into things like that. Things brought to life or light resulting from the rules imposed by large institutions or overwhelming events. Yeah, so I feel like I think that with the Sun in Capricorn in the 12th house, you know how the system works, right? And so you can kind of because you know how the game is played, you can play the game to your own benefit. So that's what I'm getting here. But also we have Rebel. So I feel like even though you know how the game is played, that doesn't mean that you want to keep playing it that way. That just means that I know that other people are playing the game through deciding the rules or setting the own rules or changing the rules to their advantage. So if I can see these sort of duplicitous things that might be going on, these sort of hidden tendencies of other people who have leadership or power, then I can also see how I can exert my own leadership qualities, and play the game to my advantage. Okay, but this says challenges authority to effect social change, rejects spiritual systems that do not serve inner needs. So you're not afraid to serve your own inner needs. The Sun talks about this as well. The Sun is about, self-esteem, self-confidence, self-worth, all of those sacral chakra, the yellow chakra energies. And this is, the sacral chakra is the seat of power, or the seat of, it's our power source. Just like our abdominal muscles, when they're strong, then it helps to power the whole physical body. For the chakra system, when the solar plexus chakra is strong, it powers all of the energy body very well. So it is a wonderful quality to be a leader, to have self-worth and confidence. You have to be able to have that self-confidence in order to be able to challenge the status quo and say, look, I'm a contender here. I'm not going to be dominated. I can see your hidden tendencies. I can see what game you're playing here. And so it's kind of like if it was football or something, and you saw the other team's playbook, if you were able to get some sort of secret insight into the other team's playbook before the game, obviously that would give you an advantage. And when you're embodying the energy of the Sun, you're not afraid to use any advantage that you have, right? Because you have enough self-respect to say, listen, they would absolutely do the same. All right. But I feel like, with fair man, you're not trying, your goal is not to be duplicitous. Your goal is simply to be empowered so that you can win the game, so to speak. We're using metaphors here, but a distant friend is thinking of you, and tulip, great passion. I feel like a part of your confidence as well is that you know that there are a lot of people. The sun is the center of the solar system, right? And I feel like you have this confidence. It's not arrogant to know that there are a lot of people close and far who do really admire you. I feel like you allow that sort of confidence to help you shine in your leadership abilities. You know that there are lots of people who admire you, people who you know, but also people far away who maybe you don't even know. You've never met them, but these people are aware of who you are because you're in the spotlight in some way, right? You're really shining. People are really looking at you. And I feel like this sort of fuels your passion, just knowing. Again, this kind of goes back to the 12th house as well, knowing that your influence is very far-reaching in ways that you don't even know about, but you're aware that that there are people who are influenced by you that you may not even be personally aware of. And I feel like with this tulip card here, it's like it makes you feel that, yes, it is my purpose to be a leader, and that is something to be confident about. There's nothing wrong with, just acknowledging the truth, which is that I am a strongly felt influence in the world in some way. Can we also get doing my best with a trophy? This kind of goes back to the initial fortune message as well. It says, I take a moment to honor myself for all the work I've done on myself, emotions I've managed, and complex familial relationships I've maintained over the years. I haven't always been perfect, but I've always done my best. And since you can't get better than the best, I guess I win. Who's up for several tubs of ice cream? So yeah, you're not afraid to congratulate yourself and build your confidence up here because you have had to manage your emotions. Like we said in the beginning, you're that person who has to coach yourself to overcome your own fears because you recognize those fears are just human, right? So you're not going to let those fears get the best of you, though. And we have rose quartz, love life. New or renewed romantic love is here for you. So you may be someone who your leadership abilities could be enhanced by you having a beautiful love life. The sun and the 5th house, which relates to the sun, that also is about romance and fun. And just lighthearted romance, like flirtation and that type of thing. It's and also we have great passion here. So I feel like, you allow yourself to live your best life in all ways. And that really empowers you and gives you the emotional support you need to continue to have this very strong, beautiful, shining self-confidence and self-esteem. All right, so these are your strengths. Now we're going to get into areas where your guides feel they'd like to help support you in developing further. And we have Saint Teresa, Divine Ecstasy. So I feel like this is kind of going back to these 12th house capabilities that you have. Saint Teresa, one of the things about her life was that she experienced a stigmata, which allowed her to feel some of the pain of what Jesus felt, where Jesus was sort of taking on, in the crucifixion, taking on some of the weight of the pain of humanity. It's people who experience stigmata, they also are capable. It's sort of like they're carrying some of that burden. It's like they're a sort of a way of assisting Christ. So I feel like with Saint Teresa coming up here, it's a reminder of your own Christ consciousness. You don't have to be of any particular religion, in order to have respect for, Christ's message or Christ's manner of, living from such a place of selflessness and compassion. So I feel like this is reminding you as well. Yes, you have a healthy confidence, right? But this needs to be expressed in a way that is also like very aware of any sort of suffering that other people are experiencing. This allows you to have stronger leadership capabilities when you can experience this very strong empathy. All right. And we have, the Hanged Man, right? Being able to, not necessarily to be a martyr, but to be able to make sacrifices and also be able to see the problems that people face that maybe you yourself have not experienced, right? Maybe things have, because you're a very charismatic person, you're very charming, right? The sun is showing up. You're people that, you're the type of person that people naturally admire and look to. And maybe you've had a lot of positive, shining, happy experiences in your life. You've perhaps won a lot of trophies, But I feel like the Hanged Man is saying, okay, yes, but you also need to be able to try to put yourself in the shoes of people who haven't had these same types of experiences, or people who've had particular types of struggles that you yourself have not faced. And regardless of what type of life any of us have lived, there are always going to be people who've experienced things that we ourselves have not experienced. So it's so this is an area where you can build your strength. I feel like with just having empathy and insight into other people's experiences allows you to be the type of person who people feel very comfortable and safe with. Because people will know, people will look to you and they will understand, I can trust this person to be a leader because I can see that they want me to experience good, happy things as well. They're not just out for their self-interest. This is a leader who wants all of us to share in happy times together. Okay. Gosh, you have a lot of, we have the sun and now Mars. Okay, sort of masculine planetary energies here, but also in Cancer, you got watery stuff too. Okay, Mars in Cancer in the 7th house. Again, you're very sensitive people. It may not always come across to people very well, but you are incredibly sensitive. And I do feel like you do have a strong natural empathy. You are someone you're not afraid to put yourself first. And I think that your guides are congratulating you on that. But they're also saying because you're so sensitive, it really puts you in a good position to be able to, see things from a perspective that is the complete opposite of yours. And this allows you to engage with other people who might have different beliefs than you, but you can still be cooperative with them without allowing yourself to be a doormat, because you can still push your own agenda, but you're not doing it in a way that's hurting someone's feelings. And you are also taking into account, that they might have unique insights that you wouldn't have because their experience has been different, or they just are coming from a different perspective. So it's like, your guides are encouraging you to continue to value the contributions of people who might seem to be very different from you in some way. Maybe you might need to confront attitudes that you've had about people who are different in order to be able to form better relationships with them. In order to be fair and in order to also ensure that you are being treated fairly by these other people. So you need to balance both. Yes, you are important, but also the other person is important. And how can you be sensitive both to your own needs and the needs of the other person? Okay, we have the Hermit as well. Seek solitude to focus intently on inner life. I feel like your guides are saying that this is very important. You know, with the Sun card at the beginning, I think there are a lot of people who are very drawn to you, so you might not always get a lot of time alone. But I think your guides are saying this is still something that you really need to prioritize in terms of really honing your leadership qualities, because you'll have very strong creative insights, or there will be light bulbs that go off for you. Your crown chakra will sort of open up in these moments, and you'll kind of know the way forward in ways that you wouldn't if you're always surrounded by people. You need to make time for solitude. Growth. Seek out a mentor or guide. Take baby steps as you grow. Be willing to learn from others. Yes, you're very confident and you know that you have leadership qualities, right? But don't be afraid to seek someone else's leadership or mentorship. You know, be willing to admit, you know, it's good to have good self-esteem, but you don't want to be so arrogant that you think you know everything and that you can't learn from anyone else. So be willing to learn from others and seek other people's mentorship. Okay, we have the Hierophant and the Four of Wands. This is the second time the Four of Wands has come up. Yeah, I feel like your part of your leadership is really showing people like, listen, we can all experience good times together. And that's the goal of your leadership. I feel that you definitely need to continue to demonstrate that. That is going to be the key to your success. All right, I'm going to read the message from the polar bear from the book that goes with this deck, because these are great messages. All right, let me focus here. All right, the world in which I live is changing fast. It is no longer as safe and as reliable as it once was. The signs of this unstoppable change are all around me. But despite this, I must have faith. I must trust that there is a larger plan that I cannot see. I must believe that I am playing the part I was created to play in this moment, at this exact point in time. It doesn't need to make intellectual sense. I just need to believe, as my ancestors did before me. I have faith that I am being who I was always meant to be, doing what I was destined to do in the right place in the right time, and so too should you. Well, that is a beautiful message, Polar Bear. And let me read this section as well. Do you have faith in your ability to pull your vision off? The Polar Bear wants to connect you to all of those who have pulled off the seemingly impossible. He wants you to know that just because you have never done this before doesn't mean you won't do it this time. Wow, what a wonderful synchronicity. Remember that the greats of the past were also the first failures of the past. Stand tall and stake your claim in your vision and believe with all of your might that you can do this. All right, let me find the Four of Wands. Four of Wands is the bowerbird. Let's see what the bowerbird has to tell us. Have you ever noticed that the best things in life are the ones you had to put in a little extra effort for? The hard work, the challenge to outdo yourself, the rush of seeing it all come together, and then basking in the afterglow. These are the sweet moments we live for. To know that you can rise above the ordinary and create the extraordinary is energizing. And I know that not all of you may be wanting to be leaders in a business sense, but I still find that these messages seem helpful. If you have built your team correctly, you are about to have cause for celebration, as everything you have put into place is about to pay off. If, however, your team is not showing up as well as they could be, then you, as the leader, need to show what it means to bring only your best to the table. So it's sort of like leading by example, I feel. All right, let's see what finally we have. Sarah Lakali, Queen of the Outsiders. I have arrived. I am where I will always be, in love. I feel like you all are very romantic type. You are lovers, not fighters. Queen of the Outsiders. You know, maybe you feel in some way that you are an outsider, but at the same time, you know that you have arrived to your purpose. I feel like you're showing up to your purpose. This was kind of the message, I think, also of the Hierophant in the book, was trusting that you are in the role that you need to be, or you are fulfilling your destiny, I feel overall is what it is. And I'm going to read this message from the book 212, Whispers. This makes me feel, reminds me of 12th house energy as well, and it is represented by the number 12. Okay. All right, just a final message here. Your mind and heart are expanding. Oh, it says first, tune into your soul voice. Your mind and heart are expanding to hear your soul whispers. You are, or will soon, find it easier to interpret and understand the vibes of your soul through how you feel. Open the door to soul whispers by feeling appreciative. Close the door by feeling judgmental. The messages are always there, even if you are not receiving them. Practice feeling soul vibes to clarify your intuition and psychic senses. Just like we know a dog can hear sounds we cannot, your intuition interprets waves and impulses outside of your conscious awareness. This card is also prompting you to take notice of your dreams. When you are asleep, you cease conscious thought and resistance, making it easier for you to receive soul transmissions. If you embrace the messages that come through your dreams, you will invite more of the same. If you don't like a dream, see it as a sign to shift your focus or change a belief. All right, so those of you who sat through all of this reading, I really hope that it was helpful to you. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I want to thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.